Hi everybody, my name is Karen Quinn. I am the author of the mini book Heartlight. I am a messenger and an author for the movement of change. Now I am here today to talk to you about house fires. A couple of years ago, my husband and I awoke at 2 o'clock in the morning to 7 and 8 foot raging flames outside our bedroom window. Needless to say, I am an expert in the subject of house fires, and I'm here to give you 5 tips that I think are very important for people to do before they have these life-changing events such as fire or floods or tornadoes. That's what I wrote the mini book about, is that experience. But what I want to do today is give you those 5 tips that I think are crucial before anybody has to go through life-changing events such as this. The first and foremost thing that I think is important is the smoke detectors. Now everybody knows that you need to change the batteries and maintain them once a year. I myself do it every 6 months. But once a year is much better than nothing. And also, one thing that we learned during that recovery experience is that the codes had changed. Our house was built 13 years prior to our fire, so they did not require that all of the smoke alarms be connected. And that means that the basement smoke detectors are connected to the upper level smoke detectors. Now we would have got warned much sooner had we heard the basement smoke alarms going off, setting off the ones on the upper level, but we did not hear any of it because they are not connected, or were not connected at that time. And we lost 2 of the 3 cats I had. And this is Joey, the survivor of the fire. He wanted to join me today because he thinks it's that important also. His life, for whatever reason, was spared. But the 2 that I lost were in the basement and they died of smoke inhalation. And had those alarms been connected, we probably would have got a warning much sooner than we did. I think the fire had been going on quite a while, so needless to say, we couldn't even go downstairs. There was a wall of smoke and we had to get out of the house within about 10 minutes of us realizing that we had a fire. But that leads me to the second tip that I have about getting ready for a fire. And that is that you need to make an inventory list. Now, most people know that they need to do that. Most people, when I talk to them about our fire, say, oh my God, I need to go home and do that. But most of them never do it. And it took me 6 months to do it after the fire. But I found a really quick way to do that, and that's a video camera. And you can go along from every single room, from top to bottom, every nook, cranny, closet, drawer, every paper clip, every thing from soup to nuts. And then as you're going along, just give the date of the video and the location and the description, and the value would be really important. And that's mostly for yourself. I don't know if all insurance companies require that. Ours did not, for whatever reason, but you need to have it for yourself. You will not remember all of that. It is impossible. We still are remembering things that we forgot we ever had in the entire process. So that is very, very important. The part that's even more important than just the information itself is store it off-site, or else download it to your computer and store it on the online service that backs up your computer every day. And one of those services I use is Carbonite. I think Norton will back up every day for you. There are a lot of them. You can go online and decide which is best for you. The Carbonite only costs $52 a year. It is well worth it. The next item, that number 3, that I think is very important to do prior, and that is backing up your computer. Everybody knows to do that. Some people don't do it every day. I highly suggest that you do it every day, and do not store any disks or any of the backups physically by your computer in your office, because that's where I had mine and it all burned up. Now, I had to create all my financial information again after the fire. I lost pictures I never could recoup. I lost accounting information that I just had to, you know, it's hard to pull out of thin air. I can't remember all that stuff. So it has taken me over 3 years to get that pulled back together. So when you lose your life like that, it's really hard to claim it back. And so that's why I think that's really important. And then number 4, I think, is a list of credit cards, a list of your monthly bills, a list of your loan document and line credits of line and that sort of thing. The most important thing is a contact number, an account number, and a due date. If you do that, anything that is coming up due, you can call and make arrangements and tell them what happened, and make the special arrangements necessary to consider the traumatic thing that you just had to deal with. So I myself had made out bills the day before the fire and placed them nice and neatly right next to the computer, knowing that I was going to put them in the mail the next day. But the next day, by then, we had our house burnt down, so I couldn't do that. I spent all day Monday morning, which was 2 days after the fire, going to the directory assistance and calling everybody and making arrangements. And I had to do it from memory, and luckily it was fresh in my mind, but it was still difficult, and it took me most of the day to do that. If you had a list, you could do it easily. You have the account numbers, and they don't have to search, and you don't have to prove who you are. Nobody but one company had an ID problem with me, and that was kind of hard because you had to get documentation and fax it to them and give them your driver's license and all kinds of ridiculous things. It just was devastating. They didn't, I don't think, believe that I had a fire. So anyway, that would help tremendously. It would save you a lot of time. It's hard to deal with all that stuff. I mean, it sounds easy as pie talking to you about that, but it was not easy because you are emotionally upset, and it's really hard to focus on that kind of thing because you have so many other things to be thinking about. It's just overwhelming. And then the last thing that we discovered that was kind of a problem was a copy of the insurance policy. We had a copy of the insurance policy in our file cabinet in the office that burnt up, but believe it or not, for whatever reason, we couldn't get a copy of that from our local insurance agent office. We had to go to corporate. It took us 3 weeks, and we really had a lot of questions the first 5 days of the fire. We didn't know what the deductibles were. We didn't understand how the process was going to work. And we discovered when we started replacing our office equipment that we had a rider on it, and that they would only pay $2,500 of our office equipment because we officed in our house. So that was kind of a surprise. And if you have a policy in your hand that was stored off-site, you can have that and at least talk intelligently and ask questions and stand up for yourself with the backup of a policy. So those are the 5 most important things that I suggest to you to do. It will only take a few minutes to get most of that ready, and it will be well worth it. You will save yourself stress, or whoever's helping you will have an easier time dealing with it. And that's another thing it brings to mind. You might want to do this as number 6. Try to appoint somebody that lives nearby, a family member or a neighbor, to help you with this. There is so many things to deal with. You would not ever believe in a million years how hard it was to deal with. It was so difficult, even though we had 2 people, my husband and I, doing most of it. We were so devastated by the losses that we had incurred that it was hard to focus. But if you could appoint someone to help you, or have somebody in mind that you can call in a situation like that, do it. It will help you tremendously. But that's my 5 tips. My mini book, Heartlight, is on my webpage with a free online environment that is connected to my book. All that information is on my website, plus loads and loads of different spiritual information, and also the articles that I wrote about fire safety, and there's just tons of things. I will also be coming up with a membership site real soon, and there's a whole package that a person can get involved in on a monthly basis, but that's not up quite yet, and that will be coming up. My website is oneheartlight.com. I invite you to take a look and go looking through the different things that I have to offer. I have a couple of free deals for my readers that you might enjoy, so please check it out. And this is my gift from my heart to your heart, and I greatly appreciate your interest in listening to me, and I hope that you do your 5 steps for your homework.